Good afternoon. My name is Trevor Ankett. I will bring up my video to make it, oh, it's showing right now. I'll bring up my video as well. Welcome to my session on creating an assignment in Google Classroom. Just want to do a quick check, either thumbs up in the chat or by window, or the yes, no. You can hear me okay? Everything sounds good? The video, the share screen looks good? Great, thank you, Ken. Yeah, just making sure. Okay. If anything happens with my audio, with my earpiece, I do have a backup headset that I can switch over to just in case something goes wrong in the middle of this. There's a few other people that are just jumping in. I'll let them join as well. I'm just making sure my audio looks good, my share looks good. So I am able to see the participants window, the chat as well throughout this presentation. I'll take questions at any point. I'll stop for questions along the way. So this session is planned for an hour session. It is being recorded as well to be able to review later. But we definitely don't have to take the whole hour, and I'm happy to stick around for answering questions. I just have a meeting at 3 o'clock with other librarians. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Trevor Ankett. I'm a Eastlake High School alum, class of 2002. I'm also the Eastlake High School's teacher librarian. You can find me at Twitter at Mr. Ankett. My email address is attached, as well as I will share the link for my presentations a little bit later. I'm a Google Level 1 certified educator and Apple teacher, graduated undergrad from the University of Michigan, and I'm currently a master's in educational technology and media leadership at Cal State Long Beach. The Ankett Presents page looks a little something like this. So I have a 2 p.m. presentation tomorrow about using Google Forms as an assessment and data collection tool for easier grading. And then my 2 presentations about Google Classroom are available here. So you'll see the slides presentation, my getting started with Google Classroom that I did earlier today, you can reference. And then this whole session, literally I'm using it right now, that's the same thing is right here. Now I'm not going to use this slides presentation. I like doing this live in an actual Google Classroom just because I know the text can be small or what you can view. If you have any questions on top of asking me or emailing me after this session, I would highly recommend going to the link here, which is basically Google's Classroom support, Google's Classroom support help page. So you can describe your issue like grading an assignment. And here's everything about how to grade and return an assignment, or use the full sort of trickle down different ways. Like, okay, I need to talk about grading and giving feedback. You have everything set here as well. Okay, how do I grade with a rubric? And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. But that's all available there. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera, and we have everything else set here, ready to go. Any questions, I guess, before we get started that I can make sure that I try to touch on during the presentation? Anything you really want to know that I'll make sure to try to touch in the presentation? If not, we'll go ahead and get started. So go ahead and throw it in the chat, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Okay. So I have a Google Classroom that I've already created. This is only for the only teachers are in here. The people that are in here so far were from my previous presentation. If you would like to join this Google Classroom so we can see what grading looks like on the backside, so what grading looks like as you're reviewing student work, you don't have to, but the class code is here. I'm posting it in the chat. You don't have to. If you just want to sit back, see the presentation, by all means, go for it. I've got some student work that we can look at as well. So once we're in Google Classroom, again, once we want to get started for doing assignments, all the assignments are going to live in this classwork window. Let me just check real quick. Give me a thumbs up. Good. Yes, that you can see the text. Okay. You have a smaller window just so everyone can see the font, but I just want to make sure you can see the text, or I can make it a little bit bigger for you to be able to see it. Cool. Looking good. Fantastic. So we'll go ahead and get into the classwork. Now, everything in terms of creating an assignment, and you can see assignments already here, but I'm going to redo this Pearl Harbor one again. So it's already posted there if you want to see what it looks like once you get into the classroom, or I'm just going to show you how to recreate that same assignment. So let's say I'm teaching a world history or a US history course, and I want to create an assignment related to Pearl Harbor to start my World War II unit, or in the middle of my World War II unit, depending upon where you will start or end the chapter. So I'm going to hit this create button. When I'm creating anything in here, the window is going to look pretty much the same with some minor changes. So for this one, we're pretty much going to be worrying about this create an assignment here. My 2 o'clock session tomorrow about using Google Forms as an assessment tool can also live here as a quiz assignment. This question, when I create a question, it's almost like a discussion question that I can grade and that I can, that I can grade, or, that I can grade, and then students can either, depending upon your settings, can either view it or can either view or not view student responses. A material is going to be any type of web link, YouTube video, website, Google Doc, whatever you'd like. And then reusing a post is going to allow you to pull any assignment material, question, quiz assignment from any other course that you have created. I said this in my previous session earlier today. I know some people may be thinking about, well, wouldn't it be easier if I have, like, let's just take all of my world history students that I have for all 5 periods, and I decide, okay, I'm just going to put them all in one class. Don't do it. Don't do it. It will become an organizational nightmare trying to figure out grades and whatnot. I see some nodding heads in the video chat. That don't do it. It's a lot easier to be able to split it up by period, and then you're able to post an assignment or something to multiple periods, and I will show you how to do that. As conversely, if you post something to period 2 and you forget to post it to period 3, 4, and 5, you can do that as well with that reuse button, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. But let's go ahead and get started with creating an assignment. So when I open up an assignment page, I have this, my window of creating an assignment. I want to make it, the title is going to be Pearl Harbor. The instructions you can do a couple different ways. So for my instructions, I just want to put, please follow or please review any pages or videos listed and complete any documents requested. At the same time, and I'll show you how to do the add button in a second, I can create a document and just have one centralized document that students can look at for review. So if you have a template, a rubric, a bunch of links you want them to visit, the thing that I found as well is that if I'm presenting a major project or a major assignment, I wanted one Google document. So say a student asks a really great question in 4th period, but 1st, 2nd, and 3rd didn't hear it, they can go back and review the document to see, oh, I had that question, great, that's the question, or I can remind students to go back and make sure they have that question answered. So the first button you'll have to use is this add button. And you have options of either adding a Google Drive, something in a Google Drive. It could be a video, a form, a document, a Google Slides, a Google Sheet. That's anything that lives in your Google Drive. You have the option of adding a link, of adding a file that either lives in your Google Drive or you can upload something from your computer, as well as a YouTube video. Okay? So let's say I wanted to add something. I'll start with the YouTube first. Like I have this great YouTube resource about Pearl Harbor from Hip Hughes. You can do one of two things. I could just simply search Pearl Harbor in the chat, or excuse me, in the YouTube video, and I have some options here. Or if I just want to look at, if I have a specific URL, I can copy and paste it here. Now, like I mentioned, you're just seeing a portion of my screen. I have some stuff saved off to the side to help this presentation run a little bit more smoothly. But there's a Pearl Harbor explained from Hip Hughes, and I can preview it just to make sure. Okay, and then I can simply hit add, and it's added. Now, this doesn't mean that you can only add one thing to an assignment. You can add as much as you want. And I just remembered something that I didn't mention in the last class. Let me make sure to remember. Someone remind me about the photocopy thing, or I'll just put a note at the end of this, at the end of my stuff. There's a little metaphor that I have in terms of creating an assignment, but I've got a note for it. So, okay, so they've got the Pearl Harbor explained. Now let's say I have found a an article from the National World War II Museum. I'll show you what that article looks like. Whoops, that's not it. Let me copy the link. It's from the National World War II Museum. It's a bunch of articles, The Path to Pearl Harbor. Whoops, and it's listed here. Great resource. I probably want to use that as well. I can copy the link and then go into here, click add link, and then just hit add link. And there it is. It'll make it a little bit prettier. The kids want to see a link, they'll be able to see the path to Pearl Harbor. So I could go in here, make sure to note the imagery in the path to Pearl Harbor. So I can specifically type and speak to specific articles. It just won't see you don't have to reference the National World War II Museum.org//address. The next thing I do want to add is I have a lesson plan from the Pbs Newshour. So this is what the page looks like. So there's some overview, a main activity. It's got some great resources, including the Ken Burns documentary and some discussion questions. So what I could do was, okay, first I want to make sure that the students watch this documentary about the Pearl Harbor attack from Ken Burns. So I can copy the link address, add do a link. There's to the Ken Burns. And then one of the things that it has is like, okay, we're going to have a discussion. There's a History Channel article that I can certainly attach, but maybe I want these kids to pre-plan for this discussion. So we can have this discussion in class the next day, but I want them to work on it ahead of time. I don't have a Google Doc already created for this where they could go on and work on it. But one of the beautiful things is in the assignment section, I have that create. Or if I want to create something specifically for this assignment, maybe save it for later on, I can just hit create a doc. You'll see it's going to be creating down here, and it will open up an untitled document. From there, and I'll make the text a little bit bigger, or the document bigger, but I can say Pearl Harbor discussion question. So then I can say, make sure to answer these before the next class, and boom, there's my document, or there's my questions right there. I can play with the formatting. I can make sure, okay, they're going to put their answers underneath, and then they have this document that the students can reference when we start our discussion on Pearl Harbor, sort of review before we continue on talking about World War II and the Pacific Theater. Back in the Google Classroom, this will eventually come up with a name that says Pearl Harbor discussion once you post the assignment, so it won't just say untitled document, but you have some options here. Anytime you add or create anything that's Google, a Google document, a Google slide, Google sheet, Google form, Google drawing, anything you add like that, you have options here. Now the options include students can view a file. That just means the students can be able to look at this file, they can make a copy of it, and that's about it. But one of the beautiful things about Google Classroom is that they can make a copy for each student. So when I hit assign, that untitled document is going to be renamed student name Pearl Harbor discussion, and it's almost like a digital photocopy machine. Students will get their own copy, and from there you're able to see their copies in real time of the work that they're working on. I'm going to talk about that a lot more in just a bit of what that looks like. But basically making a copy for each student is almost like hitting a digital photocopy button, hitting that start button once you assign the assignment. The middle one I skip over and I stress, whoops, whoa, not that one. The middle one I stress in that it's students editing a file. That students can edit a file? No, just no. What that does is that basically all 30 some odd students are able to edit the document at the same time. Don't do it. I barely trusted my AP government seniors with doing it. Yeah, I'm not going to do it for my freshmen or 7th graders. I taught 7th grade for 8 years. No, absolutely not. So the students can edit files. Very rarely do I do that unless it's something small, like they're doing a sign up for a project sign up. But even then, I would probably do it on the back end, and then they can just view it. So making a copy for each student. So the one thing I do want to note is you can add as many document slides that make a copy for each student. There can be multiples. So if I want to add, okay, they've got to do the discussion questions and then a PowerPoint presentation, or excuse me, a Google Slides presentation, and then maybe a Google Sheets to take a look at the numbers of casualties during World War II. I'm just coming up with stuff out of thin air. You can have multiple copies. The issue now becomes when you hit this assign button, and I'll talk about everything else, but I just want to stress this. When I hit that assign button, it's like pressing start on a photocopy machine. Once you do it, you can go back to do two things. You can add more resources, or you can add a Google Doc or Google something where students can view it. You cannot go back in to make a copy of something else for a student. You need to either create a new assignment, or delete this and start all over. That's on personal preference. Let me stress that again. When I hit that assign button, it's almost like I can edit everything inside this document except adding something from Google and making a copy for each student. You have to create a new assignment or delete delete this assignment and start again. Okay, I'm going to show you one more, give you a couple of bits of tidbits, and then I'll stop for questions really quickly, or stop for questions. The last thing, I know for some people, they may have a bunch of Word documents that they have from the Word documents from what they've used so far in terms of their curriculum. And then it becomes the issue of how do I get everything over into Google Docs? Do I have to upload and everything? Do I have to, what's the best thing? So creating a Google Doc that I showed you earlier, that can also just be, okay, I have this web browser one screen. I'm gonna actually show you the rest of my screen. New share. So now you can see everyone. So basically, I have my web browser here, but maybe I have a Word document over here that people can reference or that I want to copy and paste. I could literally hit Google Docs. Let's pretend this is a Word document. And I just copy and paste it over. Now that Word document is that Word document is now a Google Doc that's in my web browser right here, or that's in my Google assignment right here. So you can just keep going and keep building and keep building. And then the beauty of this is that it is, let me just go back to my browser. The beauty of that is now it's in Google Docs, it's in Google Classroom, that you can reuse this over and over for later classes. And then, so I'm gonna delete that. Yeah, I will take a pause. Let's shoot up some questions. Colors has got one. Once we make our Google Doc and want to make a copy for our student, we'll go to all classes. How do we access the area where we can check it each class that went? That's going to be my next session. That's going to be this, or excuse me, my next portion. That's going to be on the 4. The 4 is where I'll just cover that real quick and I'll come back to any other questions. By all means, feel free to throw them in the chat. So real quick, on the 4 side, what you're able to do is select which classes you want to go to. So say, for example, I got this in my period 1 class, but then here's my period 2, my period 3, my period 4, my period 5. Now it will go to all of those classes when I hit assign. Conversely, or the same thing, if you just want to assign this to a few specific students, all you have to do is click on the students you want to assign it to. So I can deselect, okay, it's going to Colarusso and then it's going to Miss Barunda. That's it. Okay. Before I go on, again, any other questions I can help you with? Or any other questions you guys are thinking about, maybe something I haven't covered yet, or you're just curious about a little bit later on? Cool. I'll go and move on. Again, I'll continue again, throw stuff into the chat at the end. I'll also open up the unmute mute that you guys can ask questions audio-wise. But yeah, I'm happy to do it and happy to answer questions as well. So let's continue. On the 4 section, so I just showed you how to select the different classes, how to select the different classes. So if you want to post this to multiple classes, you can. Then selecting it for specific students or all students. Then the grading. Excuse me. So you can select how many points you want this in the grade book. So if I want to make this a 20-point assignment, I can. If I want to make it ungraded, I can. It's completely up to you. So Google Classroom does have its own in-house grade book. And I would use it only so students were aware that they have a grade on something or that they haven't turned something in. But I would stress specifically, like, this isn't your final grade for the course, because there's other things that I'm not doing in Google Classroom, like different tests, or maybe like Avid tutorials that aren't going to be in Google Classroom. There's not going to be a grade for them. The great thing about this is that you can add co-owners to this. So like my Avid tutors could grade quick article assignments for me. That was all available here, that the grading could happen there. But the final grade would be what I post either in Jupyter or Infinite Campus, depending upon what your campus has. So that's the points, and then due dates. So due dates you can set to a specific date. and even a specific time. Teaching my first year teaching AP Government, my students came in after my first assignment saying, "Angud, why are you messaging us or texting us at midnight?" I go, haha, I'm in bed. And so what had happened was the notification in Google Classroom unfortunately posted at 12:01 a.m. saying, "Hey, you have this assignment due today." So they need to learn how to put stuff on silent or to do not disturb, but whatever, you do the best you can. So that's how to set a due date and a time. You can go back, like I mentioned about the pushing a start button in a photocopier. You can go back and change the due date. Like if you realize, oh, the kids really need another day on this, you can change it. Any assignment that's turned in after that date is marked as late. So you're able to see who's turning in stuff late, who's not doing stuff right away. So any assignment, but like I said, you can change that date, and then those things that sort of fall between the old due date and the new due date, they just show up as if they're turned in. So you can change that after the fact as well. You don't have to set it right away. Conversely, once you've already assigned it, like I said, you can go and change the due date. The topic is basically how you're going to keep everything organized. Let me pull up a class real quick so I can show you what that looks like. My Avid Writing Strategies with a Tech Twist. And so this is another class that I've been using sort of as my backup because it's one that I use based upon a professional development that I taught last year. But topics are over here on the side and will live here on the side. Topics you can make whatever you want to be. It could be chapters, it could be units, it could be weeks, like week of 420 when we start next week. Or you could do, I'm not sure of many other ways, by chapters, by units, by weeks, however you want to organize your class and keep it organized, by themes, by novels. It's completely up to you, and you can change them after the fact. The beauty is, like I said, you can edit it. You can also move them. So if you have a specific assignment like, oh, that 4 square synectics really needs to go to my gist topic, I can, or I can move it back up. Synectics can move, or the whole topic can move itself. So if you want to keep running along the top, a sort of overview or class summary, or you can just keep the most recent one up at the top. So yeah, that's what it looks like in terms of topics. So I can just go in here, like I have a World War II chapter 16 is going to add to it, or I can add in create a new one. So say lead up to World War II, and let's say that's going to be chapter 15. So that's a new topic that's created. Now, one of the things that I mentioned that has become new in Google Classroom since I've left the classroom to go to the library is a rubric. And I've only just started playing around with it. So unfortunately, I don't have, actually, I will add this as an assignment and we'll make it a rubric assignment just so, because I'm curious. I've actually never tried this before. So you guys get to see stuff that's totally brand new. But if I want to create a rubric, say for an essay, a project, whatever you'd like. So the criterion title. So basically, let's say I want to start with, let's say for that discussion prompt, questions fully answered. And then how complete were they? And then I can go, okay, so there's a criterion starting, and let's just say 3 points is advanced. Okay. And then I want to add another criterion of uniqueness. I am totally coming up with this on the fly, so sorry for those that don't get a lot of unique points, but let's say starting and advanced at 3. But I can certainly, my keyboard is acting up, so give me just a second. There we go. Okay, so points 1, points 3. My apologies for that little snafu. Let's move. Can we move it? On the fly. So let's make it 1, 3, and then advance. Beautiful. Okay. So I want to hit save. And my rubric's going to be there. Now we get to try this out. I've never tried it before, so we'll see what that looks like on the flip side. And then, so the last one is Originality Reports. This is sort of Google's answer for academic honesty, and allows for any student assignments up to 3 student assignments in your class to be basically automatically Google searched, and then a report is created based upon how the integrity of it. So like a Turnitin report or no red ink we're able to see in terms of plagiarism. So you can select this. For my Google Classroom, or for Google Classrooms, there's a whole Originality Reports article that's available right at that link. how to turn it on. You can, like I said, you can do it up to 3 assignments in your class. Conversely, students are able to do it 3 times on each assignment just to check the report about how well it balances or goes back and forth with how it looks in a Google search and whether it's, it looks like it might be plagiarism or not. Okay, let's go ahead and assign that assignment. I'm gonna, oh, sorry, before I hit assign, there's 3 things you can do with the assignment. You can either assign it right away, you can schedule it for a specific date and time, or you can just save it as a draft. Like, I just want to get back, I want to come back and edit it. Maybe I want to work on an assignment and I have to add a few more things, and then, okay, then we'll go ahead and assign it. So when I hit edit assignment, I can bring it back up and just automatically hit assign. And I'll go ahead and hit assign. And once that's posted, it'll become a new assignment, and it's posted ready to go for people to answer. Once I see the assignment, I can see who's turned it in and who's been assigned. I'm going to take a quick break on this and show you a couple things to sort of help with the grading, because I know this is going to start coming fast and furious once you start working on this in a classroom. So let's say you wanted to come in to Google Classroom. Excuse me, you want to come into Google Classroom and just get some grading done. So I have all of my classes right here. Okay. So I want to be able just to grade assignments, just to get to the assignments right away. The best thing to do, and I love this feature, is if I hit the sort of triple pancake up on the left or the triple equal sign, there's a button called To Do. This To Do basically shows all the assignments that need to be graded. I'm a little behind in grading. Some of these are 2 and 3 years old. Oh, well. So what I'm able to do is go ahead and go assignment by assignment, organized by due date. Organized by due date to go ahead and work on. Like, I've got 3 of these turned in that I need to go back and grade. I've got 19 turned in for this Quizlet that I've got to go back and grade. You can also break this down by specific class. So if I only want to see that period 1 world history class, there it is. Or if I want to say, you know what, this isn't necessarily something where that I need to grade, I don't need to review it, I can just mark it as reviewed, and it goes into the reviewed column right here. Okay. So that's just a quick tip for you to help out with grading, because it can be pretty overwhelming as well. That's the wrong one. So I'm gonna go back to getting started. Okay. Let's open it up to questions. I do have some classwork in here. If there are people that did get into the class that want to do some classwork so I can show the students on the back end, I have everyone unmuted right now. I'm gonna mute you back up. But if you have any questions you want to ask by audio, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. I'm happy to answer. Like I said, and I can post the Google Classroom page or the Google Classroom, the class code, if you want to join it and try it out to get some work done, and then we can use that to review of what it looks like to grade student assignments. But I'm happy to answer any questions right now. Thanks a lot, Maria. I'm glad you found it helpful. And then I just realized that now you can unmute yourself if need be. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute. Let's do this. I'm gonna mute everyone out. There we go. And then if people want to stick around to see what grading looks like, what student grading looks like, I'm happy to do it. If you would like to, you're good to go, and you just needed something cleared up, I do ask that you fill out the eval. We do get this feedback. All the presenters do get this feedback at the end of the day, and so we can review. But I'm happy to show you what it looks like student grading wise, or what it looks like to actually grade student assignments. So by all means, ooh, fantastic question. I love that question. Is there any way, Anarosella asks, is there any way to not have your inbox flooded every time a student turns in an assignment? That will happen. That is actually something that lives in the settings up here. Whoops, sorry. In the settings up here. So every class down, wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. And when you go back to Google Classroom, down at the bottom is settings. And then you can turn off email notifications right here. And then if you turn it on, you can select what kind of notifications you're going to get. You can also turn off notifications by class as well. I'll make that a little bit bigger. There we go. But you can turn off notifications for a specific class. as well as what items they are inside of a Google Classroom. Okay. If you do want to still receive notifications for this, what you could do is look into setting up rules in Outlook and set up, there's a way to have the emails. Basically, Outlook will look for something in an email that then just redirect it to a different folder before it comes into your inbox. But that's the way in terms of being able to receive or not turn off and turn on email notifications. So if you only want to get the notifications of late submissions of student work, turn everything else off. If you want to see invitations to teach classes, scheduled posts or failed, that's all listed right there. Cool, fantastic. Glad to answer that question for you. And then let me go back to my classroom and then I'll show student work. Again, ask questions plenty. Actually, this is the wrong class. It is this one. So let's say I'm coming in to answer the questions, or excuse me, to grade homework. So I've assigned that riddles assignment, which is right here. I can see that 2 people have submitted it. For those of you that weren't able to get in, this is just an assignment where I had a bunch of riddles for people to answer. And the original instructions, I just said, please answer the riddles. Here's a Google Doc of what it looked like beforehand. So the owner of a butcher shop is 5 foot 10 inches tall, has brown hair, and wears 11 and a half shoes. He's married, 1 boy, 1 girl. What does he weigh? A plane crashes on the border of US and Canada. Where do you bury those survivors? What month of the year has 28 days? House has 1-story house, which is everything is yellow. What color are the stairs? Where does today come before yesterday? An odd number, so on and so forth. Okay. So I want to be able to grade that student work. So when I'm grading the student work, I can sort this by different status. So I'm sorry, it's sorted by status right now. So Robert has already turned in the assignment, yet other people have not. So I can also sort this by last name or by first name, depending upon how students are listed in the gradebook. So if I just want to do sort by status, I can pull up Robert's real quick. And here's what the grading looks like. The grading window sort of looks like in Google Classroom. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because it does look a little bit busy. There we go. So along the top, what do I have in front of me? So along the top, I can select between all the different students for this assignment. Again, I can do it by first name, last name, or by status. This button allows me to go backwards and forwards in the class roster to see other class assignments. And then I have the Google document right here. If it was a Google Slides, I'd see it in front of me. If it was a Google Draw, I'd have it in front of me. And then you do have the full sort of Google Doc suite to be able to go into here. Okay, so number 1, the owner of the butcher shop is 5 foot 10 inches tall and has brown hair. He weighs meat. So I can just highlight it saying green. That means it's correct. Plane crash on the US border. I don't bury survivors. You don't bury survivors. If you're a funeral home, not a good business practice. What month of the year has 28 days? All of them do. There's a 1-story house, which everything is yellow. 1-story homes don't have stairs. He's correct. Okay, now this one. Where does today come before yesterday? That answer is a dictionary. I'm an odd number. Take a letter away and I become even. What number am I? 7. And then what word has L in the middle, is at the beginning and at the end? That one is island. Okay. So for this one, he got what, 4 out of 7 right. Off to the side, and you can see I was in reviewing mode, so they could just, I was in suggesting mode, so students can accept it, or I can just straight edit it. And then I can say, okay, that's a 4 out of 7. Great job. Answers attached. One thing to note that when a student submits an assignment, it is locked to them. So they can't edit it, they can't go back into it unless they unsubmit it. If they do unsubmit it and the due date hits, now that assignment gets marked late. So just a heads up that they can unsubmit and submit all they want, but when I'm viewing and grading it here, I am only viewing it once it's submitted, and that's what I tell kids, like, just in case something happens that I don't see the most up-to-date version of it, I don't grade anything unless it's physically turned in. Colorus, if you're still here, can you hop to your riddles document real quick so I can show them what it looks like to see it in real time? So when I hit that post, they'll be able to see private comments, they'll be able to see the grade, they'll say not returned, and I can either return the submission or return multiple submissions. When it's returned, now Robert is able to see his grade, see his comments. Ooh, the assignment was not returned. I wonder why. Let's try it again. Cool. Love technical difficulties like that. But now he's able to edit it. He can review it, redo it, change it, make submissions, add more answers, whatever he'd like to this assignment. So if Colarusso heard me, hopefully he's still paying attention. So we can go to Colarusso's assignment. Of course, Colarusso. Okay, can you head, if you're in Google Classroom real quick, can you head to your document for this riddles if possible? If not, don't worry about it. But basically, all of these documents can be viewed in real time. So when I've had a sub because of a sick day or something, but I still just want to make sure everything is working okay, I'll hop in to one of my trusted students' documents while they're working on it and say, hey, how's everything going? And the first thing I always get is, who is this? Because they're not aware of it. But I would say, hey, it's Angud. How's everything going? Are there any questions I can answer? Sorry, I can't be there. Make sure to thank the sub, and they're able to respond. And then I start hearing, Billy's watching this too, and so on and so forth. But it is nice to be able to pop into a document real quick just to make sure if students are getting it or not, that you can answer in real time for them. But the riddles, so again, I could see this in real time if Colarusso was working on it to be able to see it. The one thing, I guess, I will look at the rubric rating, see how that looks like, and then we could do questions and finish. So let's go back to the Google Classroom, go to that Pearl Harbor assignment, and then go and look at turned in. No one's really done anything. That's okay. But this is actually my first time being able to see what it looks like as a rubric. So I'm going to open it back up. So I have to make the screen a little bit bigger. And then, so I have sort of the same window, but it looks like the rubric is off to the side that I can either select. Oh, interesting. Oh, I see. So I have my rubric down here. Again, this is out of 20 points, but it's calculating it based upon a 6 and a 3-point rubric. I can see everything right here. I can edit, I can make comments. So I can make sure, okay, for this thing, I'm going to hit advanced. For uniqueness, I'm going to hit advanced. And boom, they get 20 out of 20 because the rubric is a 6 out of 6. Conversely, I can do 1 and 1. I can clear it. Now, one thing I'm curious about, I'm going to make the window super big, but I'm curious if the rubric, if I can expand it by, oh, okay. I'm just curious if the advanced and sharing here shows up underneath here. Doesn't look like it does. But I'm wondering, I think that's about all that I can do. I can change the total points in here. If I want to view the document by itself, I can click this link here and it opens up as a new Google Doc, or the same Google Doc, but just as a full one that I can add comments. And then I can add private comments here. I can give it a grade here, but it's going to be based upon that rubric grading. Okay. So that's everything there. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I'll go ahead and unmute you all, mute it again, but you're welcome to unmute yourself. That if there's any questions I can answer for you, I'm happy to stick around. I will post, let's do this. Let me pull up my last slide that has all my information if you need to get a hold of me. That's all there. There's a QR code if you want to scan it with your phone to answer the question, or excuse me, brain fart, to get to the eval, which I'm posting in the chat right now, as well as I will post a link to my resources again. But other than that, I greatly appreciate you guys being here. If you have any questions, like I said, about Google Classroom, Google Assignments, anything else, I'm happy to stick around and answer those questions for you. If not, have a fantastic day. Again, they start up with resources again. I have a 2 p.m. tomorrow again about using Google Forms as an assessment and data collection tool. And that presentation is already listed in the website as well. But with that being said, happy to answer questions. My name is Trevor Anga. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thanks, Colarusso. Good to see you. This is my fun. I love that this is unfortunate because, I mean, due to unfortunate circumstances, everyone just now gets to become an ed tech expert. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. Thank you, Anna Rosella. I appreciate it. Again, any questions, I'm always happy to answer questions.
Real quick, Trevor.
Sure, absolutely.
Can you take me back to that Google Doc form? I had a couple questions about what some of the little symbols mean.
The Google Doc form, can I a little bit more specific? Sorry.
The one that you were just at previous to this.
This one?
Yes, this page right here.
Uh-huh.
What is that, the 3 dots there to the right of that? Remind me to the right of that. Remind me what that rectangle thing is right here. No, right there.
That one?
Right to the right of that.
To the right of that, this one? Oh,
yes.
So I do this if ever I have a student that wants to come in and say, hey, Angrid, can you look at a paper for me, or can you review something for me? I will most likely just put it in suggesting mode. That's almost like the track changes in a Microsoft Word document. So what suggesting does is, here is some feedback on the paper. It will add my comments to the, paper, but then the student can go in here and say, oh, no, I disagree with what he says. I'm gonna hit, nope, not gonna happen. Or here's some feedback that they can go, oh yeah, I agree with that. I kind of like how he made me add the period right there. I don't know, just come up with something and just hit accept suggestion, and it becomes part of the paper. So instead of editing the paper specifically, all it is just adding suggestions for it. And that's in any Google document, maybe any like Google slide or sheet or something. Here, I can check real quick. Let me exit out of here. No, it doesn't look like it. So just in a Google document, it's sort of similar if you're familiar with the tracking changes in a Microsoft Word document. Same idea here.
Okay. What about that? Sorry, guys, if everyone knows this, but this is all new to me.
You're the last one in here, so it's just you and me. So I'm happy to stick around.
Oh, okay. Stitched it. Great. Perfect. I have a one-on-one session. I'm a speech therapist, so I'm like learning all the things here. The down arrow to the right of where we were, what does that do?
This is just to show the menus for the rest of Google Docs. Like if in your Google Doc, you're probably used to all of this stuff up here. That's just what it does here. It's just to bring up the file, the edit, the share, all of that fun stuff. So I'll just click it back and forth.
Okay. Shows you the menu, expands the menus.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what about right there? Sorry, I feel like over here on this side, I had the video in the way. The blue waffle with the check mark thing. What is that?
That's I believe it allows you to go back and forth. Save a comment. Oh, I know what this is. So you are able to use canned responses. So what this does is instead of you can just start adding comments to a question or adding a comment bank. So this is the grading. This is to add comments. Watch this. So I highlight this and click. Boop. Nope. Hit comments, and then if I hit, ooh, you can tell I'm a little rusty. Hit this.
That's okay.
I can see all of
more than me.
Yeah, right. I can see the comments that are in the comment bank. So if I want to make sure, okay, cool, I don't have to type up the same thing over and over. I can add to the bank saying,
Great job. So I can just put that in there.
Yeah, you need to cite your sources. I got yelled at by one of my grad school professors in a very stern startup class on Saturday. But yeah, that you can basically do a comment bank. So if I'm in grading, again, to bring up the comment, so I highlight it, hit this comment button, and then when I hit the hashtag or hashtag, there's all the banked comments right there.
Okay. Okay. Now, what about, sorry, this is the last thing and I'll leave you alone.
I'm going to hold you to it, and then I'm going to charge you for it. I'm just kidding. No, I'm happy to answer the questions. I have a meeting in 15 minutes, so you're good.
Oh my God. Okay.
No. I'm not going to do anything between then, so you're good.
Last thing, that right below the blue waffle, what is that rectangular thing? That's the grading. No, that's the comment.
That was the comment thing. Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. What was the thing above that? Okay. All right. Well, yes, learning all the things, but thank you. You explained it very well.
And again, so I would highly recommend if you're just to get used of making sure that you're able to have any questions answered in sort of Google Classroom. A great resources again. So if you're in my website and then go to click on the button that takes you to the classroom support page, it has everything listed in terms of grading, giving and grading feedback.
Showing us that because thank you for showing us that. I did a Google intro this morning and they didn't show me that. So
yeah, that's one of those where it's like, kind of like my little extras in terms of coming to mind. But yeah, so you have, and it should have listed in here about somehow giving feedback. It's somewhere. Oh, grade and give feedback. Let's do grade and give feedback. So it should have in here something about the comment bank, so you're able to view that as well. So again, don't feel rushed at all. I'm happy to answer questions. So anything else that I can help you with?
No, I'm just going to now start creating my 10 classes and uploading all the things.
So one thing to note as well, what site are you at, if you don't mind me asking?
So I'm at Olympian 4 days, and then I do East Lake Middle 1 day.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you have other speech language? Because I know East Lake High has a couple of speech language therapists. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, East Lake High has 2. I'm the only one that mans Olympian.
Okay. So an idea that you might want to do is if you guys could have one Google Classroom of all the speech language therapists across the district that you guys are all the teachers for. My Spanish 1-2 teachers at East Lake have created a Google Classroom where it's just them, no students. In the Google Classroom, you could have under people all these teachers. You could list your speech language therapist, teacher, speech and language pathologist there, and you guys are just working in one single classroom. So for however many of you in the district, you're not recreating the wheel X amount of times. Then, let's say you have your speech language therapist class for Olympia. In your stream, what you would do, or in classwork, what you would do is hit create and reuse post. Then you could go into, I'm being very emphatic about this and I don't know why. Then you could pull, okay, I have the district-wide speech language therapist SLP class right here. I can pull any assignments that you guys have created, or the East Lake SLPs were creating, had a great assignment that I want to use. You can pull from that and use that. So at least there's some ways.
They're pulling from Google Drive. We do have some stuff in Google Drive. So we do have some of that going. So of course I'm going to take some stuff from there, and then of course
steal it.
I'm sorry?
Oh, steal it. Beg, borrow, and steal it. I'm a big fan of it. If it's online somewhere, I will steal it and use it.
Yeah, and of course a bunch of stuff I bought on Teachers Pay Teachers, and you know, on all the things. So yeah, so I'm going to be transferring from Google Drive to Google. I'm so glad they let that happen. Google Drive to Google Classroom.
Yeah, and that's really easy to do. So again, hitting that create button in an assignment, all it is just going to be add Google Drive, and then you're just looking for it in your My Drive. So if you have a lesson plans folder, if you have a presentations folder, everything's all there for you to be able to create. And then anything you have created can either be a template that students can edit, or just something that the students can view. So you have that available, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, I will, and I'll reference your website with all your PowerPoints. That looked good.
Beautiful.
Too.
Yep, use it. I will post. These have all been recorded by the district, and so they're available on that website that Dr. Winters has been doing with for the week 1, week 2. The videos are posted. I may post them here as well because I edit out like some of the names and so on and so forth. But they'll be posted as well for review later.
Now? Are we recording right now? Everyone's hearing my questions.
Yeah. No, that's okay. There's other people that have those same questions, so no, that's fine.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you so much.
Of course. Have a fantastic day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.